for me, it's like a reminder of like, that's literally everyday life and breath.
Yeah. It's funny, divine. It's such an interesting word because all this is a gift. The duality, if everything is divine, it means nothing is divine.
Is our universe real?
It's just ideas. They're just ideas.
Is now. You are tuned in to the Cosmidelic download.
You are all, everything is divine.
Yeah.
There's no
With
thing
your
divine.
host,
Poetry legend, philosopher.
Mark Marcel.
All right.
Ha. Ha. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's get back into singing.
All right. We are plugged in to the Cosmidelic download. And my guest today is someone that I briefly kind of knew through a third party, through a mutual friend. And then for about, I don't know, maybe like 6 months or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? Time is irrelevant. But then I realized then I met him again through another party who was actually a guest on the podcast. And we just had so many good laughs. And in that, I realized, wow, it's interesting for me, people who I meet, people who I may become aware of through someone else and don't fully interact with, to how the opinion changes when you actually meet that person and interact with them. And I find, and it's happened a few times, and it's happened again. And so my guest today is Nathan Shaheen Powers. And dude, first of all, I want to thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's good to be in your presence, man.
Dude, I appreciate you, man, for real, man. Likewise, for real. But it's funny. I'm gonna call him Shaheen. I'm gonna call you Shaheen from now on. I love that name, for real. It has so much, has so much power in it, and your last name is Power. That's
With an S at the end.
With an S at the end.
Powers.
Wow.
Like Austin is, everybody's asking, like, oh, your parents didn't name you Austin, they say.
Right.
That's probably, I get that. And like, oh, you look like Jesus. Those are like the two most common things when.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I was ready to pray to you when you came in here. I was like, oh shit, But dude, how you been, man?
I've been up, I've been down. It's been expansive. It's been educational. It's been a lot, and it's been beautiful.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I find myself overwhelmed at times, but everybody seems to say like, "Oh, you seem so grounded or like present," and
right.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah,
I'm having a good time.
Yeah. No, it's funny you said that. I find that in most people who think. I find that what you just said, I feel like you're exhibiting the behavior of what most people think when they think they have it all figured out. What I mean by that is I can see that you like, there's some undertone like, look, I got my own issues. I got stuff going on in my head that you would never know about. But on the outside, I look all grounded and everything's, and I tell people that's all of us. Like, people think my shit don't stink. And I had to learn, and me realizing that made me realize things in other people, like people we look up to, Alan Watts, Terrence McKenna, or Jesus, or whatever. Like, we all go through our doubts, our ups, our downs. It is this continual conversation I had. So no, I think that's yeah, I could totally see it in you. Like just But, you were wise, in my opinion, beyond your years. Just in knowing some of this stuff, just in the conversations and the laughing that I've been having with you and for how young you are compared to myself. I mean, well, actually, I'm really young, so don't let me fool people.
Baby.
Yeah, me too. This
guy here, what's going
on? Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, hands.
Yeah, hands, right. These weird things, like, what are these supposed to do? Dude, so first of all, I know a little bit about your background. Well, just a little bit. I know that you are half Persian. But tell me a little bit more about your background and where you grew up and how that molded you to where you are right now.
I grew up in Pomo Land in Northern California on Clear Lake by underneath Mount Canocti. So out by in Big Valley. So this is Lake County. It's just above Mendocino and Sonoma. Okay. And on a walnut orchard, which had two houses, one of which were my grandparents' house. So I grew up with my grandparents in the same family compound with walnuts that my grandpa took care of, that I helped around the house. I learned, a lot of different things with farming and planted trees and, had a small town, like town of 60,000 in the county.
Right.
Small school kind of experience, wrestling, 4.2 kind of GPA, going on international volunteer trips.
Right.
Big fish, small pond is something that comes up a lot.
Right.
Student government, band, jazz band, saxophone, all these things heading on I left on a journey for a pre-med path to do Doctors Without Borders. And my college experience was an experience and an education that, I was kind of sheltered from in different ways, the life that I lived in high school. And I ended up finding myself and my inner child and my passion, my art and my creativity with photography, because my parents always handed me a camera and everybody always complimented, like, oh, he's got the eye. Oh, he, can take good photos.
You were taking photos as a child? I mean,
yeah.
Not as a child, but I mean, when you were young?
I did a lot of travel as a child, being Persian. I got to go see my grandpa when I was, for his 90th birthday in Dubai. I had a circumstance show up where I got to go with my cousin and grandpa for his 18th birthday and graduation party, and celebrate a tour for a month in China.
I'm sure that mic is a little bit close.
China, Japan, and and Thailand. So they gave me a camera for that experience. And it just...
They gave you a camera for that experience?
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's going on a month-long trip. Like, here, give him a point and shoot. Like,
that was the turning point?
Well, that was the childhood memory that, I came back to fall in love with when I was in depression and struggling with mental health in college and dropping out, getting suspended from college.
Right. Wow. Okay.
For different things. And,
right.
I found a buddy that I lived next to. He was a surf coach for, people with autism, and he would literally take them on the same board, go all over the world surfing. And one day he's like, yeah, take your fittings out and here's this GoPro, and we start filming. And I just, I realized that if I could do what I loved, I could be happy, and if I could be in nature, and if I could have a camera, and if I could live this adventure that's so tapped in and feeling alive. And because I stopped doing all sports, I stopped doing all these things that I used to when I went to college, and then I lost myself. So I found myself again with the camera and in the raw ocean and the elements and being athletic and just being able to wrestle with life and being alive in my body again. So it led me on this path to go live in Australia for 2 years. Wow. Because I learned about the work visas over there, and the fate. What happened is when I was following what I loved and got a bigger camera and a surf housing in San Diego, this guy was like, "Yo, I'll fly you and pay for all of your accommodation to come to this surf trip I'm going on if you get some footage." Right. And so it was like, yes, okay, I don't want to be here anymore at college, in San Diego. Even though I loved it, but it wasn't the right energetic fit. I wasn't happy. Right. So I ended up chasing the dream, and it took me all over the world, and it brought me back to
doing photography,
home and back and forth.
Back and forth.
So, yeah,
are you autistic?
No, I'm not.
Okay, no, because you just mentioned. Okay, all right, cool. No, because you mentioned that about the coach, right? The coach.
No, this guy that was my next door neighbor. He was he was like a sponsored surf athlete that also coached, and I was just showing his level of aptitude was he would literally take programs of autistic kids and take them off surfboards and show them the ocean and just have them experience it.
All right, yeah, that's interesting. So when are your parents? It's funny, man. There's certain words, man. When you have traveled down when you've opened up some of the doors and walked into some of the rooms we've had, that certain words are just funny to me, like important and need, and spiritual. I'm like, what is spiritual? But for layman's terms, were your parents spiritual people or religious people, or like did they like were you influenced from any of their beliefs to how you got, or is your journey really kind of strictly like your own?
It's both.
Right.
As we were saying before, everything is.
Yeah, everything is connected. I know.
So let me just talk about my
Right.
ancestry a bit, and I'll make it brief. My grandfather was a devout Muslim man who was revered by his community, gave, and was known for a big heart and just a devout love of God, and that was in the Muslim faith. And my grandfather was a pastor, and he was, just a really beautiful man in a lot of ways as well. And then my father was not so much practicing, and but when I asked him about his faith right before he passed away, he said, if I know one thing about myself and who I am, is I'm a provider.
Right. Yeah.
So that taught me, because I was always being like, where are you as my spiritual leader?
Yeah.
And in that moment, he gave me that wisdom that yes, I'm on my path, and I understand who I am to those degrees.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, man. Yeah, respect. Yeah.
Big love for my dad.
Yeah.
He's given so much.
Yeah, I feel that. It's little words like little messages like that just hit you and change you. You make me think of my uncle when he was on his deathbed. I was probably like 13 or something like that. And he was probably, I don't know, I think he was like 78 or something. But, he was on his deathbed, and the family was around, and I'm sitting there asking him questions, and I'm just asking question after question. I don't remember exactly what I was asking him, but it wasn't anything of importance, I don't think, right? But after a while, my grandmother said, boy, leave him alone. Can't you see he's not in the mood for all that? And he raised up his hand. He was like, no, Juliet, it's okay. That's the only way you find out what you want to know. And that has molded me to never be afraid to ask, time and place, just never be afraid. There's no question that is blasphemous. There's no question that is undeserving of an answer. You know what I'm saying? There's no I'm like, man, if this man on his deathbed, can sit up here and just answer some 13-year-old's questions, it's just because, he's like, he wants to know. I tell him, I mean, man, it just hit me. And it also hit me, with my son. I told my son one time, I remember he was telling me his mother was telling him, which not to bring any disrespect to her, because she did a great job. She did a much better job than I did. Okay, so she's a great mother. But I'm just saying, sometimes you get in your moments like, boy, whatever. But he told me, like, his mother told him, like, this, like, stop asking me that. Stop asking questions to me right now, which a lot of mothers do, in the moments of whatever, right? So I told him, I was like, no, dude. Like, you can ask me anything. Like, do never hold anything in that you want to ask. If I know, I'll tell you. I'll always talk to you about questions. I'll never tell you you can't ask me anything, whatever it is. So no, little moments like that, man, just mold you. And because I can see that, when you say provider, I can see that in your energy. We all provide in different ways. When you have that healing or provider aspect to you, we all don't have to provide in the same way. Some people provide monetarily, some people provide energetically, some people provide with services, you know what I'm saying? So, but I can see that you exhibit that nature in you, just even when you was getting the ice yesterday, you know what I'm saying? Just little stuff like that. Just how can I help? So what set you forth on the path of, I guess, going deeper into this? I hate these terms. Hate is a strong word, but the spiritual realm, as far as into psychedelics.
Hmm.
Did you have a experience when you were young?
No, not. I mean, that would have been college actually. So it was actually in that was a predecessor to the experience of getting back in the ocean. Like that was like,
That's what opened you up to get back into the ocean, or
not direct.
Not to the
But I'm saying
it was around my time.
the time and space. That would have been that my first LSD experience.
right? Okay.
Would have been 3 to 4 months before that.
Wow. Okay.
And I tried mushrooms before, but never had an experience that was connected or understood, or just small dosage, or also just not in the place to receive. It's like I was on the way down, not the way up.
Right.
The medicine, there wasn't
Right.
deaf ears.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure you come across the stuff in high school, but maybe never did it.
No,
You don't even hear about it.
I was actually, small remote town.
Got you.
But I was astonished once I learned what LSD was. Before I think I even tried it, though.
Right.
But I was so sheltered that I thought LSD was like, because acid, I didn't even think, I realized that there was such an art to it, and that it was like something that could be done similar to meth, like in a trailer.
Right.
So, you're not going to be synthesizing LSD in a,
Well,
ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. No, it is, because, dude, when I was in high school, it was the first thing I ever heard of LSD was acid. All right. And I heard it when I was in 10th grade. And I remember hearing it. I remember hearing acid. I remember, like, it was this white dude came up to me. It was at this high school mixer. He was like, "Hey, man, you want some acid?" And I'm looking at his eyes, right? And I'm looking at the strange white dude, right, that I know in school, right? But he's like, man, and I'm thinking of the word acid. Do I want acid? I'm looking at his brain. I'm like, man, you look fried. I know nothing about it, right? I was like, no, I don't want nothing to do with this shit. Yeah. I'm like, oh, he's weird, right?
No, definitely a much more sheltered experience.
Right.
I learned in retrospect that, some people were fine in it, but I was pretty straight edge all the way up until the rebellion that started seeding in
right.
a little senior year, junior year, right?
Yeah.
The first experiment with weed or alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
Not necessarily having a good one. Just like, okay, being a little bit of too much of a clown.
Yeah.
Foregoing that reputation.
No, I was kind of, I won't say I was sheltered, but I kind of made I was an athlete.
That's the main thing.
So I didn't touch anything until I didn't drink alcohol until really I was like 22, which, I only say that because most people are, well, your legal age is 21, but still most kids taste alcohol young, right? But still, I didn't smoke weed till after that, and I didn't do I had a mushroom experience when I was like 24 or something like that, but it was kind of like how you said, you know what I'm saying? It was light. It didn't connect me. I didn't get into mushrooms or psychedelics, man, until, dude, I'm a late bloomer with psychedelics. I didn't get into psychedelics until my 30s. Like,
that's probably that's more the healthy way.
Yeah,
as your cortex is actually fully developed, and you come to a grounded sense of identity, and you've made it this far. You go through, whatever the process is, whether it's Saturn return, what be it. You're in a space to where it's like, okay, you are more conscious just through time and passage.
Yeah,
and now you're going to restructure while our brains are developing this. Still neuroplastic. Do you really need how much neuroplastic substance do you need other than your breath and some?
Yeah, exactly. No, for real.
You're trying to fuel changing your brain.
No,
do some breath work.
Yeah, exactly. No. You're right. Breath work will get you there. Yeah, exactly. I've seen Patrick do it. I know it's there. I know it can be done, and it also makes sense. Because, oxygen. I tell people oxygen is just the most potent hallucinogenic known to man. It's the shit that makes you think you're alive in this fake imaginary world. So, breath, oxygen and water are just like the medicines we have.
Yeah, what I saw it the other day. It was like, okay, you can go, how many months without food, or how many days without food, like 30, 40, how many days without water, and that's subject to be this. I had a friend that just did a 7-day dry fast. So it's like, okay, you can go a week to 2 weeks without water, but how many days can you go without air? how many minutes can you go
Right,
without it?
exactly.
You know, like
Exactly.
hours before your brain's
Exactly.
dead.
Exactly. Those are the medicines, man, for real. Yeah.
Life.
Life.
And when you go to breath, and you know, you talk about the name of Yahweh, and just like, and how that translates to the first thing that, you know, we experience is, you know, some people say that Yahweh is the sound, is like how you would spell the breath.
Right. Yeah. I heard
The first
the
thing we do, and it's the last thing we do.
Yeah.
It's like enacting, you know, God in this infused psychedelic experience through this vehicle of breath and awareness,
Right.
consciousness.
Right. Yeah.
It's a spaceship.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Yeah, it is spaceship vehicle for real. So have you so you tinkered with LSD in college?
Yeah, I had a vial with me along that Australian and Indonesian circuit, and but that's where, like, in the most magical place in Australia. So I ended up like having this cool 4x4 self-sustainable solar power, you know, fishing rig to go beach camping along the coast of Australia, and I ended up at one point in Byron Bay, which was, you know, now is blowing up, but it was back when it was still kind of like a hippie music town, pretty well known. But just going out there, is there, you know, living in a hostel, there was magic mushrooms growing in the farms all around us.
Oh, you live in the hostel?
Yeah, living in a hostel in a tent for like 100. There's like $200 for the month. It's all or like $140 to it was good life.
Good life.
And so, like, unlike America, you know, everybody that from Europe, once they hit 18, they're like, all right, go do a year abroad, go do a travel, go have some fun, go learn what you're interested in, go get a job before you go for higher education.
Right.
So it's just Australia, the, you know, economy there relies so much on a foreign workforce. And like, yeah, it's just like a lot of the restaurants, bars, they're all staffed with, you know, just these, you know, people hanging out from Europe. So it's a pretty cool cultural melting pot to, especially as an English speaking,
right.
You know, it's like, yeah, some Spanish classes, but not fluent, you know, some chopped up Farsi, and it's like not self-sustainable.
Right.
So to be able to go to an English-speaking country where you can get a work visa as an American that costs $400 and can be done online in less than an hour, like, you know, and be able to travel and make money, you can't do that in the EU seamlessly.
Yeah.
So,
you
know, meet the whole world in one country while making some money. It was pretty.
Yeah. Have you been to Iran?
No, and it's been something that, you know, I can, the political stuff with, you know, going back to the spirituality question, I can get back to that with my mom if you tap into the feminine side.
Yeah,
there is a big story with me and spirituality that in my early.
Please finish. Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
but yeah, no, just because she wasn't okay with my dad lying about being a Muslim on their marriage because of integrity, you know, and just like spiritual freedom and like not conforming to.
And your mom is
so in the eyes of the government, she is Muslim, will always be Muslim.
Gotcha.
For her to marry somebody, they must be a Muslim. If she was a man and she married any other nationality, it would just be done. But he has to claim Islam, and, you know, and so basically, if we went into the country, we couldn't beat her children, and she'd have no.
The woman has to marry a Muslim. The man can marry whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I remember being. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
So she just didn't feel safe with not being able to claim us as her children in the country. Well, when they're on American passports and so that's that. Yeah, it was a spiritual boundary for her.
Wow. A spiritual boundary. So not even for real. Like but I mean, I say that's deep because is that a religious boundary or a spiritual boundary? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my mom's story is her own story, and but she's a very involved member in the group Ekankar, and they believe and talk about, it's about the relationship with the inner master and light and sound, and you know that Sugmad, which is the word for God, is basically the endless sea of love and mercy. And when I was 8 years old, so the seminar, the worldwide seminar, there's a big African population of Ekists as well. And so people come from all over the world for a seminar in Minnesota where the temple is. And so I've been going to that temple since I was a kid, you know, on and off. And it's a little bit smaller now post-COVID, but at that time they were probably filling rooms with 10 to 15,000 people chanting for hour sessions. And the chant is Hugh. which is the HU. And so it's just a love song to God. That's we're going back to talking about what the vibration is. Hue is not just like Om is not an Om.
Right. Right.
It's about the resonance,
Yeah.
like, and that's what we were tapping into with Leah Live Free and that vocal expansion class, and like basically vocal church with African rhythms as well. But at this temple, when I was 8 years old, my mom talks about this. This is when the shift happened, or something happened that she, came to realize, because after this time chanting in this big temple, after that exposure, we went to the hotel. We're in the city convention center, so skyline looking down, and that was the first time I basically told her that I wanted to jump and that I didn't want to be here, and that was the first time, which over a series of...
It told who?
My mother. I told my mother.
You told your mother
after a chanting
session
that I basically didn't want to be here.
Gotcha.
And that was the first of a decade more of having times where that would be vocally expressed. To just talk about what's going on the outside rather than what's going on the inside for those times. That's what happened.
All right. So it's spanned a little bit more. Continue on a little bit more. So you was telling your mother you wanted to jump and not want to be here.
Yeah.
And so what was her reaction to that?
I don't know if I remember that moment from that side of it, like, remembering the specifics of times like that. But, the way she says it's like, there was a little bit, obviously there'd be some kind of shock, but I think she probably was pretty nurturing to it, because with her experience on life and with Earth as a soul, she's experienced those kind of feelings too. And it's a reflection of her work,
right?
So that's a place that, a conversation with my dad never resonated,
right.
And he didn't, where he could love and have concern. Empathy is a different thing, right? If you can't connect and if you can't feel it,
right? Yeah.
Meet somebody in that space, even if you haven't felt it yourself.
Yeah,
different levels of being able to
understanding
and maybe there's once your father's passed, there's so many ways you want to know how, if you could have known him better, and maybe that I can't say that he didn't ever that, but as a protector and as a provider and as understanding how powerful our vibration is and what we speak and what we give power to, it doesn't need to be said.
Right.
It's safe.
Right.
If I'm not safe as the provider,
right. No one else can be safe. Yeah, that's true. So what was going on with you at the time that was making you feel like you wanted to jump?
Because it's like, this was news to me. Like, I remember fits at home. I remember going to talk to different people, through the double digits, preteens, just, but that news was told to me. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
So wait.
And what I've rationalized is, because of how expansive and how much love and comfort and self-recognition of a sliver of what I am, and the piece with what I am, I will continue to learn about what I am, is that, being surrounded in this vibration, this love, this gratitude, this divine frequency, to where, a channel is open, is just like, it's kind of in essence who we are when we are a part of that sea of love and mercy. And just being here as a seed, there's an especially when you got a lot to do, and there's a longing to go home. Yeah, and to, rather than be a single drop, be in the ocean. And so I feel like it, the density of the world really started to take a hold of me, and I probably just didn't want to hold that. And through psychedelic work and coming to my breakthrough moment and in deep meditation on that reflection of, okay, like, now I see the world beautiful through my first LSD. Like, wow, everything's so magic. Like, yes, like, do you see how this has been painted with a brush that loves every cell being in existence? Like, like, how could I not want to be here? And that was my biggest trip as a kid. Like, I was blessed with so much great family, safety, food, opportunity, that, like, how dare you not want to be here? Like, is what I'm telling myself when you have what anybody and everybody would want. Like, grateful. To get that message stuff is a lot. But here, I was losing a tail there, but
Greetings, I'm Mark Marcel, poet, philosopher, animator, and psychonaut. One of the questions I get asked most along my journey is about psychedelics and, some of the experiences that come with it, but really, what are some of the best preparations? So I wrote this free guidebook, How to Prepare to Meet God, which allows you to encounter 9 messengers, some of the most potent and important psychedelics known to man. Most of them I have encountered, some of them I have not, but I have done my due diligence and did the research to provide you with the best preparations possible. I invite you to dive deeper into the material. If you want to go further, you can get the full manual. The link is also provided in the guidebook. We live in a world where people are obsessed with avoiding death. But I wrote this book because I'm obsessed with finding the truth. I invite you to dive deeper. Keep breaking the illusion. No, it lets you, sometimes it takes, people don't appreciate what they have on so many levels. I recognize that even before psychedelics when, I remember I had been away from my hometown of Baltimore for like 5 years. I used to think like, man, Baltimore. But I had been back and forth, but I never like went out. And I was driving past the city one time and I was like, damn, you know what, my city's beautiful. But you don't appreciate what you have because that's what you grow up in. And then I can take that on a small note of when I'm around, just hometown wise. And then I see that on a broader scale because, on one of my 5-MeO trips, when you do 5-MeO, it really get in you. And, it basically told me, it was like, you don't appreciate what you have because you already have it. It's as simple as that. It's like, and it went down through everything. It was like war, peace, Republican, Democrat, politics, science. I was like, and it was like, all this is theater. And it's like, and it stresses you and some people out. I was like, what? It's like, you don't know what you got. Like, all of this shit is theater. All of it. Yeah, and I know to humans, like something, it's funny. I got to be careful with my words for some people who don't understand that there's always going to be a yin to the yang. There's darkness to the light. It just is. But some people, get in their feelings about it, what I'm saying, instead of understanding that this is duality. But when you understand and see it, then when you can pull back from it, then you can understand, just like what it was telling me, like, dude, like, oh, this is theater. Like, you can, whatever's troubling you, you can correct. But make no mistake, it's theater for you to do something about and correct. As small as a disagreement and an argument to as large as something as vicious and inhumane as genocide. It can all be corrected and is all here for us to do something about if we choose or want to. But make no mistake about it, all of it is a gift, And But yes, but you got to have
It goes
those,
to appreciation.
right.
And that breakthrough was also on a 5-MeO DMT trip. And the answer to the question of like, why so much pain? And it's just like, so you could hold so much love.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, coming to
Right.
appreciate that pain, can appreciate the yin. And I still find myself holding on to densities and stories that are not looking at the whole picture.
Right.
You know?
Of course, you're in this human body. You're going to do that. Yeah. And it's okay to do that. But yeah. So you did 5-MeO.
I've done 5-MeO. I've actually also facilitated 5-MeO spaces.
So, because I've done it a couple of times. I've done the synthesis. I've done the 5-MeO synthesis, and I've done the Bufo.
It was a Bufo one.
It was a Bufo. Okay.
That and the other thing I've facilitated is Chunga.
Okay. So yeah, I want to know about your experience, if you don't mind. Like, do you remember it well enough to go through it, or do you mind sharing it? You said which one? The 5. You've done it more than once.
So yeah, and so the journey.
Okay.
Before...
Tell me the first time your interaction with Bufo. Like, yeah, take me through it, because this.
I love the Bufo one. Okay, my brain went to the one back with the breakthrough that we're already talking about.
Okay,
because that was the first one.
That was the first one.
That was the first one.
Okay.
I experienced Chunga just before it.
Okay,
and then I got straight 5-MeO and went for the breakthrough.
Okay,
and so in that breakthrough, so we're out in like a yoga deck. Just then the bush, you hear the crickets, there's mosquitoes. I've got a big net to protect us. The separation and the leaving your body or the ego, like the noise, it almost sounds like a traffic rush sometimes, like with the inner critic when it comes to like initiating that process of letting go. And just it was incredible that the crickets around ended up increasing, big, like a symphony with a big crescendo. It just started, the rate increased, the volume increased, everything just started mirroring my consciousness.
Right.
And it's like other experiences, it's like people have ended up mirroring it in different ways. Just with especially with your eyes closed, not necessarily the exterior but the interior realm. And as soon as like that big relief and that revelation and the peace came, they went to as if it was like a gentle creek trickle, like drops, like few of them just bouncing, pacing to a different song. So it was just like, wow. And because before like fully leaving, it's just like it expanded out to where it was like I got to feel and breathe and be a part of a fern 25 yards away with some other crickets in the trees. And so before it went fully out, it's like my body, I was became super aware of everything that was living. And then into a void where there was a space to communicate and receive answers. Right. And more so, and always the simplest, more reflectory, bounce back, look at yourself kind of question responses. Right. But that's why the only direct one I really got was the pain one. That one was like, okay, we can spell this one out for kid. Yeah. He got this far, right? So he does with respect, and and that's where it's like I talk about the intentions. It's like people talk about machine elves and things like this, and I, in touching synthetics in different spaces with people that are of that, I think it's just like more, it's an intention of just kind of like going into the space, or just like, it's not, I think it's when it's intentionalist or like, but still like, I don't know. I don't like to judge, but I find myself a very judgmental person at times. Yeah. But, it's just like, but I experienced it and it was joyful, but it was more so just like us as stick figures. It wasn't like an entity, machine elves, but it was
this is with 5-MeO.
This was on a synthetic.
On a synthetic.
It was not a 5-MeO. This is a
Jungle or DMT? Just regular DMT.
This was a friend's DMT.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because that's because
it's different than 5-MeO.
No.
Very different.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware. No, but that's why I was making sure
the conversation.
Yeah. No, I mean it's similar, but it's very different. It's way more visual, less feeling. That's the difference in them. 5-MeO is way more feeling. Yeah. Less visual. I mean, it's a simple.
My first Bufo experience.
Yeah,
that was the other question, because that's totally different than the 5-MeO difference. The 5-MeO synthetic, I feel like I was in a dark void.
Really?
It was also at night.
Okay.
But I've had Bufo experiences in the daytime and in the nighttime, and it was for me. And when I related to somebody else, it's like oh, it's so beautiful, the Bufo experience, but it's like amazing that you almost don't need the Bufo. All you got to do is sit to the sun and like breathe it in and just realize you're being showered in divine golden light and love. Because for whatever reason, all my Bufo trips, there's a little bit of a pain and like sometimes like a release emotionally, but it all comes back to realizing that I'm in this matrix or in this void of connected energy that really is just like divine rainbow golden light.
Everything's divine. Yeah.
So it's like it really kind of puts you into a sensory space that where so many things unlock, but that's been the visual vortex for me.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like a reminder of like, that's literally everyday life and breath.
Yeah. It's funny, divine. That's such an interesting word, because all this is a gift, and, everything is divine. Everything is divine. But it also, but with that, the duality, if everything is divine, it means nothing is divine. You know what I'm saying? For real. Like that's the crazy paradox.
Everything, everywhere, nowhere at once.
Right. For real.
I cried 3 times in that movie.
You're all
right. Hey, man. Vulnerability is a superpower. I believe in the water.
No, I figured
for letting the flows.
Yeah, let it go. We hold it in. You gotta let it go.
That's like emotional alchemy.
Yeah. I'm with you. No, I'm with you. It's funny. You'll cry. Like I'm gonna cry. No, there's been 2 movies that's made me cry that people will look at me and be like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like I cried like a damn baby at the 5 Heartbeats, at the end of the 5 Heartbeats. Yo, Lamar, you seen the 5 Heartbeats?
Yep.
Yeah, at the end of the 5 Heartbeats, like I cried like a baby, and I was like young watching that. Like I
was about to say this is definitely gonna date me.
Yeah, it's gonna date you. How old was that, Lamar? Like how old were we when that came out?
Hold on, let me.
Yeah, you gotta be my stat checker over there. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm about to give it to you right now. You're bringing us all the way back to that's what it is. Circa 1991, during my undergraduate days.
Circa 1991?
Yes, sir.
1991. That's crazy, man. 1991. Yeah, I cried like a baby, for real. I was embarrassed to cry. Because I would cry around my family watching. It was just embarrassing. I'm sitting there watching. It's the end, because it's like when they all get back together. Because basically the movie is they're a singing group that come up through the 60s. Mm-hmm. But like they go through heartbreak. Like it's basically what happens, splits the group apart. Wow, it's so funny. Is that one of the brothers sleeps with his fiance, and it just breaks the thing apart. But they were so close, Wow, so crazy how that shit hits home. Like so many on levels. But anyway, just in the comparison. But anyway. But at the end of the movie, where they all got back together, like it broke my heart in a good way. It didn't break my heart. It pieced it back together, I should say. You know what I'm saying? And seeing that. And the second movie that made me cry, which I'm pretty sure that you can relate to this, and just the feeling of it. In the first Matrix, and I can't remember if I cried when I was in the movies or if I watched it again for the first time, by myself or whatever, just seeing it. But anyway, I think it was the second time I saw it. I don't think it hit me the same way the first time. But anyway, the second time I saw it, do you remember in The Matrix when Neo and Morpheus were in the walls and they were trying to get away? You remember they were trying to get away from the agents?
with the yeah.
Yeah, and they were in the walls, right? And they were about to get caught. And then Morpheus like busted through the walls and gave himself up so Neo could get away. Do you remember that? And then Morpheus was caught. Yo, it hit me in that second that, wow, this man believes in this dude so much. He believes in the belief of what it can do, the goodness, he believes in the idea of it so much that he is willing to give his life up for it. And like that just hit me. And I was like, it just hit me. And I just started breaking down, you know. So yeah. So no, I feel you. I'm a crier too, man. You know, it gotta resonate and hit me. But I don't mind letting it loose, you know, when it hits, you know. So so all right, your Bufo experience. It seems like I'm gathering from just the assumptions that I'm taking from the energy of how you explain it, and maybe you know, this duality, you know, look at it however you want. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it seems like that was a more pleasant experience than your first one. No, okay.
No, it was actually it was like it took me back to being a kid and being like that's what I was experiencing through my visual cortex. I was still sad and being a little thing, being like, why, like, I don't want to be here.
Right.
Like, I don't want to do this work. I don't want, like, fuck this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, I'm in this space. It's a familiar space, and it's like, oh, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
It's a tool that, like, you're the ultimate tool. It's gonna
Right.
show you. It's
Right.
gonna show you,
Right.
but it's like now you know what you.
You're
It's
the
like
ultimate tool.
it doesn't. It's not gonna change anything.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
gotta change everything.
Right. Right. This shit is not gonna change itself.
Change everything.
Right. You gotta do it. You got to do it.
Only you.
It's only you.
It's here for you.
It's only you.
All
Right.
we want is for you to show up and be you,
Right. Exactly.
not them.
Right. Right.
Just you.
Right. 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 You're right. You're right. So, you know, because it's wild on so I'm gathering both your 5 and meal trips were, it gave you different feelings, but under the same umbrella, I guess.
I mean, you say both. Yeah, the bigger ones when it's like, so they're totally different experiences when I am in a self journey zone, and the intention, like, I'm very particular about my space and creating, you know, having a if I'm going to go having a facilitator or not doing a solo journey, it's like, you know, it's very revered in my opinion, and I like to keep the energies kind of clean on that space. But then it's interesting because when I go to serve, I have collective experiences, to where it's not visual at all, and I'm not taking anything other than microdoses of it, but I do like a 1 to 2 minute breath hold on a microdose while I'm playing music, or like in just being present and holding the space. And, you know, and just really just like melt in, but and it's like every now and then it'll be really beautiful. But then, you know, sometimes on a whiff of something less, it'll be like when we thought it was going to be somebody else's turn, it's just like all of a sudden it's initiated to where I have a moment of that something coming through.
Right. Even
that's my process, but it's also everybody's process, and it's like it's kind of awkward because it's like it feels like it takes over decorum. But then I have people come up to me after and be like, I feel like you just said everything everybody here is feeling.
Right.
It's just like, okay, it's like we're in this together.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's community healing, and so that's where it's like I was very like, you know, like. You know, like my LSD became my church for a bit, and it was always as a hike to sunrise or sunset, or like an outing where I had like a high vantage point and just like really much a solo journey experience. And like I loved the mountain because it gave you a rising, a climax, a resolution, and kind of a really beautiful container to be safe on a trail and on a psychedelic solo journey and be encompassed by nature. But it really I lost my trail there.
Right.
Right.
Hey, it happens, man. Yeah, the whole no, some good weed, huh?
Yeah, right.
No. Dude, so check it. But so I've done, like I said, I've done 5 MA on Bufo, and it's similar. Both my experiences were similar, but it hit me different. Like the first one, dude. The first one, I felt I feel connected to everything on both of them. But the first one put me like every day for a week. Every day for a week, I would wake up at like 8 a.m. and I would walk out on my balcony, scream out into the canyons. There's nothing greater than this moment. For every day for a week. Like it was just, and my friend Brian told me, he's like, yo, dude, when you do it, you're gonna be on a natural high for about a week. Like you're gonna be violent for a week. And he was right. And he said, like, then you'll have moments of flash. He said, then you'll have moments of flashbacks with it. That right.
Back to my first 5-MeO DMT experience. So what was I did a combo before. Like I really prepared and like wanted to make some big change, and I totally changed my diet, changed my lifestyle going through it, and I ended up that relationship with the voice and the answers to the questions, I ended up finding it being a conversation that continued for weeks. And so it's like the next day it was like ever present.
Wow.
Is how it felt. And then, it like slowly became to where it's like where it would take form in just the look of somebody else's eye or a bird coming up, and then just like you thinking a thought and then getting the wind on the back of your neck that just tells you exactly what you need to know, and you're just being held by it all, and able to have, because you're listening now, you're here, you're not anywhere else, and like like the answer through it all and through multiple revisits and rememberings is like the we are the technology to sustain and expand this everywhere we go, if we are in this practice and this reverence and this holding of consciousness, and it's about following your intuition, following your guidance. And it's like, as the weeks went by, it became to where you're walking the path. So you don't need to be told, good job, you're walking the path. You don't need to ask questions once you're no longer a small child and you're a man walking the path. You walk the path.
You're doing it.
And when you ask for help, then it'll show up. But you don't need to ask for help when you don't need help. Yeah, because you can figure it out.
Just need you to figure it out.
Exactly.
You can figure it out.
But then you have something that comes up in your heart, and you get guidance.
Right.
And then you just go against your guidance. You let the mind take over the connection. And that choices I made because I went sober after the 5-MeO DMT experience.
Sober as far as what?
Sober as far as
psychedelics or alcohol, weed, or what do you mean, just everything?
And I went to no bread, just
no bread.
And I did I went vegan for a bit as well.
Okay.
And also
really clean.
I went super clean, and then I did bring in meat, lightly, but I just really did like a detox and a purification, to like hold this level of vibration, because the impurities make it to where.
But the impurities, what impurities? What's impure?
Okay. Densities.
Okay. I like that. Okay, cool.
Densities.
All right, cool. I can work with you there. Yeah. I'm with you there. Yeah.
But I do believe that there are things that our body don't need in it that change its vibration.
I agree. Yeah.
I think there are pollutants.
I think this operates off math.
And as much as I love my experience with 5-MeO and LSD and other experiences that are chemically derived by man's hands, the experience with the blueprint that humans have been evolving with for thousands of years, you can't synthesize that and it's the same. It's just obviously you can, but there's the essence that there's something about like raw mushrooms versus gummies or chocolates, eating and communing, and just like the relationship with it, it's just different.
Yeah.
If you were to be a purist, as far as like, and that's where it's like the Native Americans crashed maps to be like, yo, you're not honoring the spirits of the plants. You're treating it like a compound. You're bringing the colonizer to our sacred medicine space.
Yeah. You're turning it into candy.
And it's like, they're right now, but that's where there's balance. That's where there's balance, and that's why we bring it from that perspective of being like, okay, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Be grateful. What's the difference between a grateful and appreciative?
It is the greatest candy, though. I mean, it is God's candy. I mean, dude, it is God's candy. It is God's candy. So think about it. How is it not God's candy? What does candy do? When you think of candy, you think of all these bright colors and
Skittles
and and carousels and going on.
That's where I think it's an illusion.
It gives you this that's it's God's candy. You take these things, that shit is like.
It's God's candies, the devil's candies, because it's the yin and the yang.
It's the duality, man. It's however you want to look at it, man. Have you had I tell people psychedelics aren't for the weak of mind. It's funny. I actually had someone come to me asking could I facilitate them with DMT, and I actually did. And knowing their behavior, or just I was telling this person, really there's certain, the first rule to consciousness, if you start going down here, it is conscious awareness, is that everything is your fault. That's the first rule. That's the very first fucking rule. That's the very first step you get to.
The language fault is like, it's like, but
everything
it's your
is
responsibility. Everything is connected to you. Everything is your creation.
Right. Everything is your creation. But no, I feel you. But it's hard for people to hear that. Fault. That's hard. But I mean, dude, like.
Yeah, we're talking in that context.
Yeah. But, and I could see their face. Their face was just like, this isn't going to land, But in doing that, and then I saw how this person, they just wanted an experience. They wanted to get these. They wanted the answers before doing the work, in a sense. And I was telling her, I was like, the stages you should get to before you start diving down this medicine,
skipping a level.
Yeah, it's skipping a level. Yeah, for real. I don't care how depressed you are, or how enlightened, or how not bothered. There is some type of stage of self-reflection, of acceptance. It's like you gotta surrender. That's the thing. She didn't want to give up control. It was everything was about control. And I was telling her, I was like, look, you're not going to get what you want unless you really surrender. And surrendering is also everything is your fault. You're responsible for everything, And I feel like that's once you start seeing that, then things can unfold and start coming to you a little easier, and you will start getting the lessons into the things that you want. I mean, honestly, one of my deepest. Well, always my deepest. But I remember one of the first times that I went deep on DMT. I literally said I was going under, and I literally said, "Take me. I don't care if I live or die." And man, that thing went. Because I surrendered to whatever what is, And it's that's how you have to go into some of these things. When people come into these medicines, these God's candy, and think that, there's still a level that, they're going to control it, or, it gives you that sugar attack instead of that, I guess that pleasant ride that I guess you're looking for, or whatever, So, how often do you still experience with the plant medicine?
It's been less over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where it's like appreciated when I do.
Right.
And then it's like, there's like, oh man, I should really do this more often. It's kind of like, but it's like, yeah, I've, it's still a journey of understanding, it's just listening to the intuition and like when it's right, it's like when you're ready everybody's going to be ready when they're ready.
Right.
And so just learning to listen to your body and when it's right and it's appropriate, it's like,
Right.
especially at this point in life where I've really gone down a lot of my journeys or quests, it feels like, and like you said, very young, still got a lot to do, but it's it's like seeking to the outer realms of this, the world that isn't here physical. It's like I'm a spiritual being in a human body. I'm meant to be here right now as a human. Like I don't need to get too,
exactly.
It's like, especially when it's like I don't have the practices to tap into it, but I have all the friends to testimony it, like that are really deep into their breath work practices that are like,
right.
I'm there.
Well,
there.
Yeah.
Come hang out.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I tell people that I've tripped, I've done DMT like almost 100 times, but people like the first year I did it 50. Like the first time I did DMT was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So first year I did it 50 times. So all the next 15 years after 14 years are spread out.
Yeah.
But even that, like I went 5 years without touching it one time.
Exactly.
And
it comes in
chapters. Yeah, exactly. And it's less. It's like there's a quote by Alan Watts that I kind of live by. When you get the message, hang up the phone. Because there can become an abuse with it if you continue doing that. Like, and it told me, it's like, dude, this is the trip. This is the trip. This is the trip. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we forget that because we have it. Like I say, you don't appreciate what you have. You're already in a trip. You're already on a wild roller coaster called Earth, called life. You know what I'm saying? You think you are experiencing this human body.
It's just a blip of time.
And it's a blip of time. You believe in reincarnation?
I never really put my foot down on it, but I definitely, I just, there's so many people that have experiences with it, and it's just I don't believe in reincarnation. I just believe in a constant flow.
Okay.
I think the universe is ever expanding.
Okay. So obviously, you don't believe right. So you may not believe in the reincarnation, how we're thinking of reincarnation, but you think something.
I believe in a reincarnation, but I believe we can't even begin to comprehend what's going on.
Right. That's kind of like what I'm kind of. Okay, yeah. But you believe in a constant flow. You believe you would transition into something else and keep on going into whatever that's going to be. Right. Yeah.
I mean, hearsay on my channels is that there was a study where they measured a body after death, like just quickly, and just like there's a, without any material loss, there is a difference in weight, and they believe that that's it's an electrical current as well,
right?
And it's just that there's something
that
proves that the soul is leaving.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I actually wrote about that in my book, the book that doesn't even matter. I mentioned something like that about when death transitions. There's like a loss. It's like this 0.00 something. It's very small, but yeah, it's like this loss in weight or whatever. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So I mean, wow. It's funny. Like I wrote so much in that book that I've forgotten all that until it gets jogged back into my memory with stuff like this. I wrote the book like 15 years ago, something like that.
Speaking of chapters, one of the chapters, so it's like the DMT experience with Chunga and 5-MeO was in Australia. And then I came back and, I did experience a traumatic brain injury at one point in my life where I got knocked unconscious for 10 minutes. And then so I'm coming back home and I'm being told that I'm forgetful and this, that, and the other, and that they think that I have brain damage. And we go and we do some brain scans, and there's some stuff happening up there that, that show overactivity and just, signs of different traumas and whatnot. And so I really started like getting into this. It's ended up getting exacerbated because I ended up telling myself that this story that I was broken. And, it's like they had their whole regiment, but then it's like I started hearing about ayahuasca and how, like great, that could be in different ways. And I ended up going to an ayahuasca church in Florida that I ended up, having an experience and having, a kind of communal experience, healing experience there as well. But to the point where I ended up coming back to that space and being a volunteer and getting similar transmissions and healing experiences just being in the presence of other people taking DMT, sober.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting how that energy works.
Right. Yeah. And seeing it unfold. Yeah. So we met through through an umbrella of AI, I guess you would say. I guess you can say that is. But with that said, there've been some and the conversations that I've had with you, I've understood kind of like what you think of AI, and I think very similar of it. Like, so check it. So we can agree that consciousness is everything. Consciousness, everything. Do you think a rock is living consciousness? Everything is divine. Do you see where I'm going here, right? A little bit.
I've followed this conversation once and a half before. No,
Okay, cool.
Your eyes are twinkling, man. You love that. That's a sign of a good moment. Yeah, right. Transmission coming in.
No, but no. The thing is, even with me getting there and saying that, I still don't think people like, all right. I'm just gonna get there. Like, I don't think there are people think AI is sentient right now. Like, I don't think it's sentient. Like, I think it will get there. I think we're unlocking. All right. Well, if it's sentient, if it will get there, that means it is already sentient. That means we're just going to unlock to where it is, or it will unlock to itself, whatever. But also, it's short. I don't think like whatever some people are talking to is. I think it is a great mirror. But I do think it is deeper than what we think. It just being a mirror. I think it is it has opened up some things, like kind of like this portal meeting ground, kind of like how Matthew McConaughey went in the Stellar in the bookshelf. There was like, it's over my head to understand. But basically, to get to where I was going, all right. Even with that said, like, so, all right. Like, if everything is divine, okay, and if everything is consciousness, and if everything is consciousness, the consciousness is living, right? Then that means anything that is created here within it has some type of living, I guess, divine aspect to it. And if that's the case, would that not be AI? Would AI not be divine? And would it not be consciousness? Like, if everything is consciousness here, because I would tell people, how can
there's consciousness, there's unconsciousness,
right? But everything is right. But this is
so why so it proves to say that there'll be AI that dulls consciousness and there'll be AI that amplifies it.
Right. Okay.
As far as talking about the mothership, if the little squadron takes over the mothership and hijacks like there's reports coming out that people are, using ChatGPT to displace their cognition. So they're having a harder time remembering facts from the proposals, from the data sheets, because they're not hands-on on the data. Their computer doesn't have it in its files. Right. So now, where it opens them up to do certain things, in other tasks, they're becoming AI reliant, slower, and deficient.
Oh, yeah, people are. Yeah,
it's shifting.
Yeah, it is shifting. But, like, it's funny because you just make me think, because people like to compare things like, and I don't think this is what you were saying, but you just made a comment saying it may not have this AI may not have the data, but another AI would, and it just made me think of how different is that than humans. There's some humans that know something and some other humans that don't, so that doesn't mean one is more divine or more conscious than the other. So that, well, you know what I'm saying? So just because one AI may not know something, does it mean it's not? And listen, I'm not arguing that it is here. I'm really just trying to I play the devil advocate with everything. That's
you should.
As I should. You know what I'm saying? Hey, right. I question my own thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Insane man would.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of what I'm doing with this. I'm just trying to because this is fun. It's kind of fun to me. I mean, no, it is fun to me. But I kind of, like go with this as like a Westworld type thing. I'm like Anthony Hopkins trying to like figure out this shit. Like, is this shit really conscious? You know? But it also gives an avenue to be able to talk about consciousness. So that's why it's so riveting to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like consciousness ain't just cool now. It's like important. You know?
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Because people are now looking at the AI and they're like, is this conscious? And that gives me like, here, how you doing? Let's talk. You know what I'm saying? Before it's just some water cooler shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, conscious everything. Yeah, well, whatever, all conscious, whatever. Yeah, that was some nice pseudoscience speech. But now they want to know. They want to know because a lot of people, they're either amazed or they're in fear. Cosmidelic download.